Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the weekly Levinson and Associates webinar learning series. So this happens to be our second training of the week, but this is definitely my favorite by far, and I think you will all agree with me. This is great information. And I think what's interesting about today's webinar is, if you're a mortgage protection agent working our leads, or if you're a final expense expert, if you're an estate planning attorney that is also life licensed, if you work mainly on larger cases, whatever the situation is, I think number one, everyone will walk away with a nugget or two, okay? And number two, I think we all know someone, right? They always say, oh, I have a guy for this. I have a girl for this. This would be perfect. So I think we all know someone in our network that this could be a perfect opportunity for them, of course, most important, and for you as the agent or advisor, right? Because these typically aren't, $40, $50 a month cases, okay? These are minimum 100, 150,000 of target premium. So the commissions are unbelievable, okay? So, and here, this actually trumps all of my comments. So if you have that guy or girl, right, that fits the bill, Mary is available to jump on a call with you and literally, obviously, it's your client, you're going to tee this up, but she will help you make the sale, okay? So that's a really big deal. It's important to know as an agent, you don't have to know everything and all the moving parts and all the details, okay? You just, if you know enough to be dangerous, I always say this, and you have the guy or girl, then we'll tee up the call, and Mary can literally take it from there with you on the call, and you can learn as you go. And she is well equipped to answer all of the questions. And number one, to make sure the client's comfortable and you make the sale. Okay, so she is the author of 3 books. And what we're going to do, okay, and by the way, she's my favorite when it comes to, if you want to call it a life coach, sales strategist, whatever you want to call it, okay, I think you'll agree by the time we're done that she brings so much value to the table that everyone is going to start writing down names of potential clients that this will be a good fit for, okay, and you just let me know as soon as you are appointed, okay, and you're active with Levinson, we will tee up the introduction call as long as the situation fits, and you and Mary and your client can take it from there. Okay, also what we're going to do is we're going to send out her books to the winner of today's question of the day. Okay, so what does that mean? You have to be paying attention and writing down notes, okay, because my question has to do with one of the topics or comments that me and Andrew are going to go over today, okay, or actually Mary might touch on it, or even Neandre from LSW. So make sure you're paying attention, okay? Great stuff. Let's jump right in, Andrew. Okay, some of the new things here at Levinson. I have just a couple slides, and then I'm going to introduce our 2 featured speakers of the day, which is Mary and Neandre. Okay, so real quick, what's going on? What's new at Levinson 2021, right? Hopefully we're coming out of this pandemic shortly. But either way, you have to make sure you're up to speed on the tech side, right? Because let's face it, the days of face-to-face seminars, right, or Starbucks meetings, right, are pretty much a thing of the past. Hopefully it starts to come back soon, right? But today, we're forced to use Zoom, sell over the phone, drive people to your website, use social media. So we're here to help you with all of that. And as you know, for the last 7 years, we were way ahead of the curve. Obviously, we had no idea COVID-19 was coming or this pandemic was coming, but I was always preaching to everyone, make sure your website is up and running, make sure your social media is up and running, and your marketing using a CRM tool, right? You know that. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. You can go back and listen to our trainings from years ago, and you'll see I said exactly the same thing. And here we are, 2021, during a pandemic, and you're literally forced to use this technology and these tools. So left side is our brand new term product to $1.5 million with an instant decision. Number one, instant decision and 100% client driven. That means your client can go to your website at 3 a.m. while you're sleeping, run a quote, apply, get approved, print their policy in less than 9 minutes. You wake up with a new commission. Done. Approved in 49 states, A+ rated carrier. Here's the kicker. You ready for this? And I hope you're writing this down. Cigar smokers, okay? Non-tobacco rates. Occasional marijuana smokers, non-tobacco rates. Okay, you're scratching your head saying, Bill, there's a catch. What's the gray? There is no gray. Okay, premiums are as competitive as our top traditional fully underwritten carriers. Okay, so again, we can set this up on your Insure Me Now direct site. We'll have our launch webinar in about 4 to 9 weeks, roughly. We're building out the technology now, but it's right around the corner, and I am so excited about this, and I think you all will be too when you see the rates and everything else that comes along with it. On the right side is our last podcast episode, March, and this was interesting. So the infamous TED Talks speaker and author, Donnie Wilson, actually interviewed me for a change. So we both sat down for an hour, of course, virtually, and we kind of kicked the tires. It's a great story. We talk about motivation, inspiration, what's working during the pandemic. So check that one out, episode 29. And then also what I'm going to do, let's go to the next slide. If you leave a comment, okay, on our Facebook page, on your favorite podcast channel, whatever it is, I'm going to send you one of Mary's books on us as well. Okay, so on the left side there, that's episode 21, where I actually interviewed Mary for an hour. Okay, Mary Reid, yes, the one you're going to listen to in a few minutes. So this is a great podcast. And again, same thing goes, leave a comment, tell me your thoughts, and I'll send you one of her books on us. But we're going to include this in today's thank you email. But if you like the concept and you have a guy or girl, right, you want to listen to this episode because you're going to get comfortable with the distribution solutions concept. Okay, so we'll include this in today's thank you email. Let's go on the right side here. Now, this was interesting. This is a real case, just came up. It's been about 2 weeks now. So the agent called in and was speaking to one of his prospects, and the client already bought a policy. And the agent brought up Mary's concept, and now the client is thinking, hey, you know what? I like this concept and product better. Okay, so we made the introduction to Mary and the agent, right? And they had the call, and now they're setting up everything with the client. But it looks like this is going to happen. This is a $500,000 sitting in a retirement account, okay? And the client wanted a third-party opinion to talk about tax-free options or alternatives, right? So anyway, Mary's working on this now with the agent, but this is like a new $75,000 commission to the agent involved, and all he did was know enough to be dangerous. We teed up the intro call. Mary's working on it today, and this should happen. Okay, so anyway, the option is there for you all. Leverage Levinson's resources, and obviously we will get Mary involved and hopefully make a new sale for you. Okay, one of these policies literally will change your year. Okay, so we're not talking about, you know, like I said, $40 a month cases here. These are all very, very nice, and most important, helps your client. You come out looking like Superman or Superwoman. Okay, so what does that mean? More referrals, more clients, more policies, more commissions. Okay, let's move on here. All right, so real quick, we're going to dive into our featured presentation of the day we have Mary Reid from Pentegra. We also have Neandre from LSW joining us. And by the way, Mary's concept works with Lafayette Life and LSW. But when we're talking about a little more aggressive accounts by leveraging IUL with living benefits, LSW shines, and that's why they're both on the call today. So without further ado, we have Mary and Neandre. You there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, we're both here.
Excellent. Okay, let's dive right in.
Well, Bill, you know, I will say you've done a better job than I could have done in teeing up Mary for today. I like to say I do a pretty good job at bringing Mary to the stage, but shoot, I just need to go ahead and get out the way. So coming to the stage right now is Mary Reid. For those that don't know, again, I'm Neandre Broussard. I'm your key sales rep here at National Life Group. So I work closely with Bill and with Carrie and with Joseph and with Andrew just to make sure that you guys are well taken care of. And one of the beautiful things that I have is the opportunity to have the relationship with Mary Reid, who even from my conversation, I've been working with Mary now for almost 4 years. I learned so much every time I sit in on one of her sessions. So I'm honored to be able to have her with you guys today to add to the Levinson story on what you guys are doing to prepare your agents for more opportunities there. And I know you're going to get something great out of this. So get your notebook handy and don't be afraid to take something away and then follow back with us if you have additional questions on what Mary's going to go through today. But with that, I will shoot it over to Mary Reid, the legend.
All right. Thank you, Neandre. Thank you, Bill. I feel like the pressure's on now.
I was just going to say. I was going to say no pressure, Mary.
No pressure. I'll do my best. So thanks everybody for tuning in. As both Bill and Neandre referred to, we're going to talk about a strategy today for getting money out of qualified accounts. I do qualified plans, have for 40 years. I help people install plans and put money into them. I work with small businesses to get the tax sheltering for them. But this is at the tail end. Everybody loves putting that money in tax deductible. Everybody loves watching it grow tax deferred, and everybody hates the taxes that they have to pay when it comes out. So not only is it the tax bill, but the IRS is very involved in that money. They're telling you when you can take it, when you have to take it, in a lot of ways, how you can use it. So we can help people get out from under that and get their tax bill down and get them some additional benefits. So you all know people who have these accounts. As Bill was saying, or Andrew was saying in the beginning, there's $31 trillion sitting out there in qualified accounts right now. Think about that number. And that's a lot of money. And we've had IRAs since the 1970s, and we've had 401k plans since 1981. Overlay that with the 80 million baby boomers, and what we see is this money is moving every day. It's not unusual to come across people who have $1 million, $2 million, $6 million, $10 million, sometimes in their IRAs. And those people have a real problem. They've done a great job of saving the money, but they are going to get hit very hard with a tax bill when they take it out. And if you talk to someone, it's a very simple conversation. Do you have money in an IRA or a 401k? Yes, I do. How much money do you have? I have $1 million. What's your plan for getting it out? Nobody has one. We have one. And so that's a great opportunity to have a conversation. You don't have a plan. Have you thought about how you're going to get it out? Would you be interested in seeing a way to get it out where we could get the tax bill down on the distribution of that money? Nobody says no to that. All right, so here's that person. If they have $1 million, they bring you a statement that says $1 million. They don't really have $1 million because the IRS has their hand out every time a dollar comes out of that account, right? Whenever a dollar comes out of that qualified account, you pay tax on a dollar at whatever your income tax rate is. It's always ordinary income. Can't make a long-term capital gains. So this is using federal. I happen to be using North Carolina here because that's a nice middle of the road state tax rate, 5.07%, I think. If this person's in North Carolina, they have $1 million. Their statement says so. What are you going to do with that $1 million? Well, maybe they're going to spend it. Maybe they want to pass it on to somebody, and they're thinking they're going to give their beneficiary $1 million, but they're not. That $1 million is really only worth $577,500 because the IRS is going to take their piece first. That is a rude awakening for a lot of people, and this is the problem that we can help them solve. Right, so with that money that's sitting in a qualified account, they really only have two choices right now. They can let it keep growing in that qualified account. They can draw money out whenever they're ready, but if they don't want to take the money, they'll have to take required distributions when they hit age 72. They'll have to take their required minimum distributions. And they could do that and let it, keep growing in that account. And then when they pass away, it will go to their beneficiary. Option number 2, they could do a Roth conversion. And I've had a lot of conversations about Roth conversions in the last year. If they do a Roth conversion, they'll pay all their tax now, but then after that, everything will be tax-free. No more required minimum distribution. Now, for people who think tax rates are going to go up, this may be an attractive option. I met a gentleman this past year. He had, I think it was $5 million in his IRA. He converted the entire thing to a Roth because he's absolutely convinced tax rates are going to go up. That's a valid, reasoning, but we can go them one better. And the way we go one better is we take that highly taxable asset that's sitting in that qualified account. We're going to shift it to be a tax-free asset, sort of like a Roth, except with one key difference. We're going to do it with life insurance. We're going to take that money in that qualified account, shift it into a life insurance policy, pre-tax, still in the qualified plan. We're going to pay for it over a limited period of years, usually 5 years. And then when the policy is finished being paid for, we're going to distribute it out to them. Now that will generate taxation. So this is the counterintuitive part. We don't want to keep deferring because then the tax bill keeps growing. The reason we're using life insurance here is that it is the only asset that gets different tax treatment from the IRS. Whenever I take $1 out of a qualified account, I pay tax on $1. The one exception to that rule is if that dollar is sitting inside a life insurance contract and I distribute the life insurance contract, I'm taxed on what the IRS defines as the market value of the contract, not the dollars I put into it. Now, they're very particular about this calculation, and this is from a revenue procedure in 2005, IRS Proc 2005-25, where they define that it is market value, not cash surrender value. That's the taxable value. And then they included in that revenue procedure their calculation for that market value. Now, they allow you to get an independent appraiser to value the policy, and you could use that. The IRS could challenge it. They could take you to court. You might win, you might lose, but you'd have to pay expenses to go to court. We use the IRS's calculation. That is a safe harbor, so they can't challenge it. So not only are we repositioning the money and saving tax dollars here, we're doing it in a very, very conservative, safe way that doesn't create any audit risk for that client. We're not in any gray areas here, which is why CPAs really like this strategy. So we're going to accomplish several things by doing this. We're going to address market risk on their money, right? If they're in an IRA, Roth or traditional, they probably have it in the market somewhere, and they have the risk of the investment performance of the market. They have tax risk, right? The longer you leave that money in that account, you don't know what the tax rates are going to be in the future, and you're holding on to that risk that tax rates may be higher. And you also have longevity risk, either in the risk of outliving your money, or what if you want to pass it on to somebody, how much is going to be left? And we'll address all of those risks with this strategy. So let's talk about the first one first. If someone has got that money in that IRA, when they get to age 72, they have to take required minimum distributions. So over here, I just have a shortened version of the table, of the IRS table. And because people don't really know what this means, right? So when they're 72, you have to divide the balance in your account by the factor from the IRS table, and that factor is 25.6. It doesn't mean anything to most people, so I've just converted that. What that really means is you have to withdraw 3.91% of your account. So that number increases as you get older because the table is designed to empty your account. So by the time you're 80, you have to withdraw 5.35%. By the time you're 90, it's 8.77. So if we have someone here who's concerned with eating away at their principal, they don't want to keep reducing that principal because either they don't want to run out of money, or maybe they want to pass it on to someone. So ask the question. So if you have to withdraw 3.91%, what do you have to earn on what's left to build back what you just took out? You'd have to earn 4.07%. By the time you're 80, to replace what you had to take out, it's 5.65%. And you can see these climbing numbers. So that tells me if that's somebody's concern, they're going to have to be in the market. You can't get those returns in a treasuries or a money market account or heaven forbid sitting in a bank account. That forces them into the market. So you have the risk that comes with the market. We know the market goes up and the market goes down. Here's a look going back to 1900. These are the drops the market took from the peak to the trough when it dropped. These are very big numbers. This is pretty frightening when you're 70 and this is your money. If it takes a 52% drop in the market, how long and what kind of returns do you have to get to build back that money? Compound that by the fact that you have to take required minimum distributions. Here's the same, here's the, right, slide say, okay, here's the same look just graphic-wise, right? And we see over time the market does go up, but when it takes one of those drops, it takes a very long time to recover. 14 years, 23 years, 29 years, 26 years. You know, if you're 25, you know, you could sit that out, but if you're 75, probably not. This is a risk we can protect people from. And this is risk exposure they have if they're currently sitting in the market. Probably their broker has not shown them this graph. We're compounding that even with the Secure Act, it gets even worse. For someone who wants to pass this money on, you know, they have other money. They don't want to use this. This is why people let it sit until they have to take the required minimum distribution. If they want to pass this money on, now with the Secure Act, when a beneficiary inherits that account, anybody other than your spouse, with only a few exceptions, basically it has to be emptied within 10 years. No ifs, ands, or buts. It has to be emptied in 10 years. So if that account passed on to the beneficiary, and then the market took one of those drops, let's look at the last one where it took 14 years to recover. They can't sit for 14 years and wait for it to recover. They have to take it out in year 10. So this sequence of returns really becomes an issue for people with these retirement accounts. Just a little simple math here. If we had someone who's 72 and they had $1 million in their portfolio, and I'm assuming a nice conservative portfolio, a 60-40 split, not just purely in the market, based upon the returns, the actual historical returns, if we took that and carried it forward 10 years, right, they have to take RMDs, but if they were getting those returns, by the time they're 82, they only have $619,000 left of their account. And mind you, every time they take $1 out, they're going to pay tax on it. So their spendable money there probably is about $400,000 of what they have left, maybe $450,000. That could be a little frightening when you're 82 and you're hoping to live for still quite a while. All right, so let me show you this alternative strategy. It will reduce the taxes. It is life insurance, so it will increase the legacy to the beneficiaries. We will remove the money at year 5 to get it out of that qualified plan, so there'll be no more required minimum distributions. We reduce or eliminate the market risk depending on which product we're using here. The IUL has the floor of 0, so it reduces the downside. And we have tax-free living benefits, so if they have a major health event, they're protected from that as well, which of course they don't have at all in the IRA. So here's a sample 55-year-old who has $1 million. If we left that $1 million sitting in their IRA, their tax bill would look like what these orange columns look like, right? Every dollar it grows will be taxed. So I'm presuming here we've got $1 million. I'm growing it at 4.04%, which I don't have time to explain today, but that is the actual annual compounding rate based upon the actual returns of the S&P 500 over the last 20 years with a combined portfolio with bonds, that 60-40 split. So I'm growing the account. We just take RMDs here starting at age 72. So if this person did that and then died at age 90, if I add up the taxes on their RMDs plus the tax on the remaining balance of their account, their tax bill is $1,355,000. Now, rest assured, if you're talking to this 55-year-old who has $1 million, and you ask them, how much do you think of that you might lose to taxes? They're never going to come back with $1.3 million. They can't envision that. But that is actually the number. And when we run these presentations, we show them that number and they can see exactly where it came from. That is the real number. If they do this life insurance strategy instead, the tax bill will be $379,000. So on this asset you have of $1 million, would you rather pay $1.3 million in taxes ultimately or $379,000? I can save you $1 million in taxes. Now, if they were thinking about doing a Roth conversion, let's compare it to a Roth conversion. I take that $1 million, now I'm going to grow it out for 5 years. so I can compare at the same time frame the taxes. If I do that and then convert, the tax on the Roth conversion is $514,000. If I put that million into the policy and then I distribute the policy and it's taxed under this special IRS rule, my tax bill is only $379,000. So compared to the Roth conversion, I saved $134,000 in taxes. In both strategies, I went from taxable position to tax-free and lowered the tax bill substantially. I've also added $3.4 million of death benefits and the living benefits as well. So let's take a high level view here. Here's my same 55-year-old with $1 million. Here's the tax bill that we just looked at if they did the traditional IRA and stayed there. Here's the tax bill if they did that Roth conversion. And here's the tax bill if they do the life insurance strategy. Clearly lower on the life insurance. So let's look at the benefit side of the equation. If they bought this policy and they never pulled any cash out from it, they just wanted it to go to their beneficiary. If they died at age 90, their beneficiary will get $3.3 million income tax free. But of course, they could pull cash out of this policy if they want to use it themselves. So I ran this. So what if we started income in 10 years when they're 65 and plan to take that year every year to age 100? They could pull out just under $80,000 a year tax-free. So not only is it tax-free, but it doesn't count for their Medicare premiums, doesn't count for their Social Security taxable amount. It's $79,000 of tax-free income. If they did that and then they died at age 90, if I add up this income plus the remaining death benefit that would go to their beneficiary, the contract pays $2.5 million. If we had done the Roth conversion, I could pull the same $79,000 out income tax free. And if I do that, I can do that, but the IRA ultimately runs out of money a little over $2 million. And if I wanted to match that same income stream from the traditional IRA, I have to gross it up every time I take a dollar out to pay the tax. And that fares the worst. It pays out $1 million and then completely runs out of money. So far, we've reduced their taxes, we've increased their benefits, and we've reduced their market risk. Here's a close-up in 5-year increments to look at what those benefits would be. Here's the pure death benefit, that's $3.3 million. Here's if we're taking that $79,000 of income, this is the total paid by the contract, depending on what age they die. The key here, see when these numbers turn red, this is the traditional IRA, this is the Roth. Where these numbers turn red, that means the account has run out of money. So with the traditional, before we hit age 80, we've run out of money. And with the Roth, by the time we hit age 90, we've run out of money. The life insurance income runs to age 100, the policy runs to age 120. And I'm not assuming any losses, right? I mean, if they're in the market with these IRAs, I just assume, what if the market went down 3 times to -10 and I spread those 15 years apart? It's going to impact these IRAs. The Roth drops down to 1.5 now and the traditional down to 600,000. The IUL doesn't go down when the market goes down. It freezes where it is and is ready to pick up the next time there's an uptick without having to dig out of the hole. There are the living benefits, which Leandra referred to before I even started. Here are the living benefits on this policy. Terminal illness on this policy is a diagnosis of 24 months or less to live. Chronic would be some kind of an ongoing illness, maybe something like diabetes. Critical illness, and only this policy, only National Life has critical injury. So maybe this person doesn't get sick. Maybe they have a car accident. That they could access these funds. They come off the death benefit. They're 100% income tax free. So these are the benefits everybody hopes they're never going to use. But it's a really nice added benefit to have them in the policy should they have one of these events. They now have that benefit as well. Now, there are several ways we can do this. It's very flexible. And I know I'm doing this very fast because we don't have a lot of time, and I just want you to get a feel for what this can do. I'm here to help with the cases. To walk through all the details, and certainly we would do it on an actual case. But I want to show you the possibilities here. With this money, under the rules, we're allowed to use that money to buy insurance on the account owner or anybody in whom they have an insurable interest, including spouses and children. So frequently we'll divide the money between spouses so they both have the living benefit. But if it's a wealth transfer, frequently we will insure the children. So I want to show you just quickly a couple of those. These are both real clients. This is a real client of mine. We started 3 years ago. We had a husband and wife. They have a real estate business. They actually had taxable income after their deductions of $700,000. They came to me looking for a deduction, is where this started. They were paying $250,000 in taxes, and they wanted to get their tax bill down. We gave them a fully insured defined benefit plan, a 412E3 plan that had a $405,000 contribution. So they got that deduction, brought their income down to $295,000, which also made them eligible for the deduction under 199A. They took their standard deduction as well, and that got their tax bill down from $250,000 to $50,000. They were very happy about that. Now, their plan is to do this for 5 years. So over those 5 years, we'll add up 5 times that amount. $996,000 is what we will save them in taxes. And they'll have accumulated between the two of them $2,068,000 in this 412E3 plan. The plan is at that point to roll it to a 401k and then use this life insurance strategy to distribute the money. Now, they don't need the money. So we're taking their $2,068,000 and buying insurance on their 2 children who are in their 20s. Between the 2 children, it buys $23 million of death benefit. We'll pay for these 2 policies over 5 years, and when we distribute them, the parents will have to pay tax on that distribution. It's their money, and the tax bill will be $570,000. Now, we saved them $996,000 putting the money away. They have to pay $570,000 in taxes on the way out. So overall, we saved them $425,000 in taxes. They will hold on to these policies till they pass away, so they'll have full access to the cash in them should they ever need it. They don't expect to. At their death, the ownership will go to their 2 children, who will then have access to the tax-free cash in the policies. They don't think they'll ever need it either because this family has a lot of money. So we just looked ahead. If these 2 children lived to age 80 and they both died when they became age 80, the death benefit on those 2 policies will be $48 million. Well, that is the legacy we just created for their grandchildren. Tax-free. Now, not all the clients are as wealthy. Here's another client. I did this client this past year. He came to me, he had an IRA with $1.2 million in it. He doesn't need the money. He's uninsurable. So we took his $1.2 million and divided it between his 4 children. He has 4 children. I'm going to show you one here. This is his son, who's age 27. Here you can see, we don't have to dig into these numbers. You see the same kind of tax savings pattern. Here you see this big decline in the death benefit here because the child's so much younger than the parent. Way more benefits, obviously, than if they stayed in the IRA. But let me show you how that actually plays out. So on the right side here, and this is a shot at some of my worksheets that I used to calculate all these numbers. If we started with this $300,000 in Dad's account and we grow it, let's go back. Didn't want to do that. And we grow it. When he's 72, he has to start taking his required minimum distributions. So he does. Then I assume he dies at age 85, life expectancy. When he does, there's $427,000 left in his account. That would go to his son. His son inherits the account. He can let it grow for 10 years, and at the end of 10 years, he has to take it out. So assuming that it's grown to $697,000, he has to take it out, pay the taxes. He inherits $417,000. But instead, we took the same $300,000 and bought life insurance on the son. The death benefit we're buying is $2,850,000. Now, there is a tax savings here. We just saw that on, like the previous slide, and feel like I need to bring that up because I really want you to show the benefits here. Now, when Dad hits 72, he doesn't have to take required minimum distributions. He could withdraw cash from this policy if he wants to, if he needs to. So let's assume again he dies at age 85. He doesn't take any money. Remember, the IRA was worth $427,000. This is where this policy has $589,000 of cash in it now. Let's look at the same 10-year horizon, though. The son would have had to empty that IRA in 10 years and would have inherited $417,000. Looking to that same time horizon, he now owns this policy that has $1,081,000 in it that's available to him tax-free. It's there if he wants to use it. If he doesn't use it, he's got $2.8 million of death benefit to go to his family. How he uses that money is up to him. We're not under the Secure Act anymore. He can do whatever he wants with that policy. But we've leveraged up what he inherited almost 3 times. So kind of stepping out of the weeds, right? So the idea here, Mr. Prospect, you have this qualified account. That's great. I'm so glad you saved it. But have you thought about the taxes you're going to pay when that money comes out? And what do you want to do with that money? Do you want to use it or do you want to pass it on? I can show you a way to save taxes on that money. I can give you back some peace of mind by removing some of the market risk that you're experiencing in that account. I can put control of that money back in your hands to give you the flexibility to use it when you want, how you want, rather than being forced to take required distributions at your lifetime and from your beneficiary having to liquidate that account in 10 years when they inherit it. And give you some additional protections as well in case you have a major health event and need access to some cash. So you look for prospects. We're looking for people here who have 500,000 or more in their accounts. It's typically $1 million or more. The more money it is, the more interested they are. This is money most of the time that these people don't need, and they would love to get out from under the tax bill to the extent that they can. If you find somebody and you have somebody, I have a little one-page fact find. You fill that out. All we need to know is how much money, what their age is, what their name is, what state they're in, and then I can put together the illustrations.
Any questions, Andrew's going to answer them, and then we can always get Mary involved after the webinar, or just send us an email, and we can also send them off to Mary. That's no problem. But other than that, no, that was perfect. I just wanted, like I said 2 times already, wanted all the agents know enough to be dangerous. And if you hopefully jotted down some notes and you have that perfect guy or girl that's a candidate, we'll obviously tee up the call. Okay, Neandre or Mary, do you have anything else before we move forward to how to get started and all the other tools?
I mean, I just, again, I just want to reiterate the fact that, just kind of reiterating that, one, I'm not an expert at this, but I know how to be dangerous enough, just like Bill mentioned, which is another great thing, as Bill mentioned, sending out some of Mary's books. That has also helped with my confidence in relaying clients to Mary to have these conversations. So one, not necessarily having to be an expert in it yourself, but knowing just enough to spark that conversation, finding those clients that have a lot of money just sitting in their retirement accounts that are knocking on the door of retirement but don't want to get that big tax bill. This is a perfect solution for them, and there are a lot of them out there. So with that, just keeping your eyes open. That's really kind of all I got to say to close that out, Mary.
And I'll just add one small thing in terms of who we're looking for here. Age-wise, we do a lot of these for people in their 60s and 70s for the reason Andre just said. They're kind of knocking on that door. And now their RMDs are coming their way, or they've already hit, and that's really triggering them to take action. But there really is no age limit. The youngest person I've done this with is 35, and the oldest so far was 88. So there are lots of different ways to do this to meet people's needs, almost regardless of what their age is.
And Mary, can you share with everyone the average target premium again, if you don't mind?
Average target premium, I don't have this past year's numbers calculated. The prior year was $175,000.
$175,000. So, like I said, it takes
average.
One.
Wow.
Yep,
Right.
There you have it. Okay. All right, good stuff. No, this was great. Now, we're going to show you where you can leverage some of these marketing materials to start dripping on your prospects and clients to open doors to the conversation, right? That's the name of the game here. Okay, so let's move forward to the next slide. And by the way, we're going to end in about 10 minutes here, so we're going to be a little early for once. Andrew is going to take the wheel and show you where to dive in on our website, where everything's located at your fingertips. Andrew?
Yep, thanks, Bill, and a great presentation by Mary. That was excellent. So if you all think that this makes sense for you and you feel like you have a client that might make sense for this situation, we would be happy to set up a consult with Mary. As Bill said earlier, what you want to do is go to our website levinsonandassociates.com or carrielevinson.com. You're going to go to the marketing tab, and we have a section for distribution specialists. You'll see it there. You click on it. We have videos from Mary. We have the podcast, and then you'll see a request consultation button that you can actually put in the particulars of your case, and we will make that introduction for you. We also have an order form for her 3 books on the website, as well as some of the marketing materials that Mary uses for her presentations available for download on the website. So you definitely want to be checking that out. We will send this out as well, links to all this in the recap email later this afternoon. Also, real quick, I just want to touch on this. Mary did a great job, so I don't need to spend a ton of time here, but start combing through your book of business and start looking for those IUL sales opportunities, right? People nearing retirement, business owners looking for key man buy-sell executive bonus, tax-deferred accumulation we talked about, people looking for living benefits, tax-free income. Just start looking at college planning and funding, right? Using our SAGE program. Think of things that you could use in your book of business and start marketing this concept, right? You're going to get responses for this. We have the materials. We have everything that you need at your fingertips to start these opportunities and these conversations for the IUL concept. I'm going to get it over to Bill. He's going to touch on the IUL experience and what you have at your disposal through Levinson.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. So real quick, like you are, I know you're aware now, but you were aware before, the IUL product, okay, that within itself, even putting all of this other stuff aside, right? Great retirement product, cash accumulation, right? Tax savings, and especially for younger professionals, right? Obviously, Mary's concept works with people that are a little older, but it doesn't matter. Either way, we have a little something for all types of prospects, okay? It doesn't matter, but you need to start to co-brand and get this message out with our marketing material, videos, e-blasts. We have a software program that literally will build out a illustration and presentation for you to sit down with your client, even over a Zoom call or go-to meeting, what you're on right now, whatever it is. And it shows them what this cash accumulation looks like, what it could be used for. We actually have a presentation with scholarship built in. So let's say the prospect is, 30 years old, male or female, they're the breadwinner, right? And they have 2 young kids. And of course, they're thinking about, like, down the road, retirement, right? Death benefit in case something happens, living benefits that can trigger while they're still alive, and then scholarship funding for 1 child or 2 or 3, whatever it is. Okay, so you can sit down with them and show them the various columns, right? And have the scholarship program as like the 1-2 punch that they're not getting from other agents out there. So what I want you all to do, and we're going to put this in the thank you email, we're going to have a link for the IUL experience, and it gives you everything you need, okay? It doesn't matter how old the prospect is, because we have a little something for everyone, like I mentioned, but I want you all to make sure you're aware of what's available, and all this stuff, 99% of it is free to you, okay? So please jump in. We even have lead programs, prospecting programs. We have agents that are literally buying Mary's books. We have a co-op discounted price. They're giving them to all of their prospects, and they're saying, hey, this is a easy to read in layman's terms book that talks about retirement tax saving strategies. Do me a favor, read this. That's all I'm asking. When you finish, I want to know your thoughts. And it tees up the appointment for you. So we have a bunch of platforms just like that. But again, we put all of this stuff together for you to utilize. So check it out when you get a chance. The scholarship program now. So both of the carriers, excuse me, both of the carriers that Mary uses, right? Lafayette Life and LSW, they're both scholarship approved, right? And our IUL software, both approved carriers. So what does that mean to you? Again, that third column, the icing on the cake, when you're showing death benefit, cash accumulation, now you're showing up to $40,000 in scholarship funds at no additional premium, no commission reduction, as just a value add. And here's the great part. If you, let's say, were appointed through another IMO, right? Now, obviously, you want to use the scholarship and Mary, so you're moving under us. Great. You can go back to all of your past LSW policyholders and Lafayette Life and say, great news, I'm now a Sage active agent with Levinson, and I can award you the free scholarship even if you bought a policy 5 years ago from me, okay, as long as it's with LSW or Lafayette, okay, and it's free. Imagine how that will open doors, right, for annual policy reviews, new referrals. The list goes on and on and on, okay? So if you look at the right side, we have a bunch of marketing material just built around this concept. I would start getting out there now, and we can co-brand it with your information. Everything is available for you. So now it's up to you, okay? It's your turn. You have to put your right foot on the gas and make it happen, okay? And sprinkle all of this stuff on your prospects and clients because they're not getting this from anyone else, okay? Unless they're a Levinson agent, okay? Because all the value add comes with the Levinson and Associates platform, and if they're not with us, then they're not offering this. That's simple. Okay, let's move forward. We're going to show you another great strategy by leveraging premium finance, and we're going to show you a case we're working on today that Andrew's going to dive into right now.
Thank you, Bill. Since we're talking about large cases and we're talking about large money movement, it would behoove us to also talk about the premium finance department here at Levinson & Associates, right? So the same type of client that you're working with that has a large IRA balance or a large 401k, those are the same people that might have the financial resources and justification to be able to qualify for a premium finance case. And so for those of you that don't know what premium finance is, you're basically leveraging a bank to loan you large sums of money to pay for a life insurance policy, and all your client has to do is pay the loan interest. So you can actually obtain a much larger benefit. You could quadruple the normal death benefit size IUL that you would normally buy with private funded money by using and leveraging your client's financial strength. Right? If they have high net worth and high income, you'll be able to get a 4 to 5 times larger benefit with more cash than you would be able to just selling the client an IUL. So I wanted to dive into an example. And on our website, by the way, you can go under marketing. It says premium finance. You can get all the resources and request a consultation from our premium finance specialist as soon as you would like. So I'm going to dive into a quick example. This is an actual case that we have in-house that's about to be issued, okay? This is a real testimonial, real case, okay? So if you look at this example, on the left-hand side, it's $160,000 a year of premium for 10 years, okay? And this is a $5 million death benefit. Okay, this is an IUL death benefit, okay? So what we're doing here is we're taking $160,000 over 10 years, and that's actually a loan that's given by the bank, okay? The client is not paying $160,000. They're only paying the loan interest. So you'll see after 10 years, on the left-hand side, I just highlighted it for you, there's that total liability that has to be paid back to the bank plus any interest charges or anything like that, right? So what we do is we take a distribution from the cash value of the IUL, and we pay off the entire bank note, okay? So now you have a completely paid up policy in the 10th year, okay? No more premiums. Now, if I continue, you'll see here, this is the amount of actual accumulation value that starts to grow after the 10th year. So this is a fully paid up policy, 4 to 5 times death benefit that you would normally be able to buy on the client's own. And then if you look on the right-hand side, here is the actual cash value going all the way through to maturity, all the way through past 100, and you could see the amount of, we're talking multi-millions of dollars here, and all your client did was leverage their financial strength. So, I mean, look at a type of case like this. You can change your entire year, right? So we had to bring this up to make you aware of this type of scenario and why you would consider a situation like this. Not just that it's fancy and it has a huge amount of premium, but it actually might be in the best interest of your client in many cases. So the bottom line here is I'm going to go ahead and show you at the bottom right, the target premium on this case was give or take about $65,000. Okay, that's what the agent is getting paid, and that's not including excess premium that you get in additional bonuses on the money over targets. Okay, so that is a game changer case for you, and we wanted to show you this to really put this in perspective. I'm going to get it back to Bill for some great trainings coming up and our Positive Tuesday so we can wrap up. Bill, you there?
I am here, and we are almost done. By the way, my hat goes off to all of you because we have a few hundred people on, and it's literally, almost 4 o'clock Eastern time on a Thursday. And, you know, it shows that we all want to learn, right? And try to pick up a nugget or two that will change our year and ultimately our life, right? If we get our hands around this, one case in, average target 175, and then 2 and 3, it's a life changer. And you're helping clients along the way, which is number one, as we know. So anyway, thank you. And again, jot down those notes. This is future training. So Kevin is back. He was out for about 10 days. Kevin, our programmer. So he's back hosting these calls daily, every single day. They're live, they're open forums, and it gives you all a chance to ask questions and get comfortable with all of our technology. Okay, so we understand not everyone is 23 years old and graduated from Yale with a degree in technology. It's okay. Okay, if you don't know what a CRM tool is, no problem. Okay, that's what these calls are for. So anyway, try to jump on those. You can go to our calendar to register. On the bottom there, we're talking about Emeritus. They have some new products with living benefits. We're going over all of the bells and whistles for 2021. That's on the 30th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And then on the bottom there, we're rolling out a brand new high-tech platform just for non-med IUL. That's going to be a big one, another exclusive for Levinson. That's on April 1st at 3 p.m. Eastern. Okay, our last slide here and our question of the day. And by the way, we're 6 minutes early on record. Okay, so this is another first. So real quick, this is our Positive Tuesday quote. And it's a little on the personal side, but I think we can all learn and benefit. We all have a story from the past that we cannot change now. And we all have a chance to build a future that we can change now. It's never too late. 18 or 76, right? It doesn't matter. Okay, we all have a fresh start. We all learned so much this last year and benefit from this, right? And move forward, constantly innovate, push the envelope. That's what it's about on a personal and on a business side. All right, question of the day. I hope your little fingers are on your keyboard and you are ready to roll. You tell me the 2 carriers Mary uses in her distribution solution concept. She uses 2 companies. Name the companies, you win. Andrew, do we have a winner, my friend?
We absolutely do. A lot of great responses, but the first person to correctly answer in time was James K. James K., and he is from Massachusetts.
James K. from Mass, congratulations. We are sending you out Mary's 3 books, and hopefully you'll pass them out to clients, and this will tee up a new sale. Have a great Thursday, a great week, a great weekend, good selling, and stay happy and healthy. Take care. We'll see you next week.